So recently, I have worked on a new flagship. Um, I, everybody was talking about Nemesis and how like Nemesis is like one of the best epic flagship tier in here, and you can also get like Nemesis from the campaign mode as well. But there's actually another really good flagship that you can get, which is Theseus. So I understand that getting Nemesis, having that ability to reduce the repair. So you can look into this skill of Nemesis, cross protection, reduces the ratio of damage ship and damage to your flagship. So as you can see, the effect preview in here, damage ratio reduction for me is 35%. The ratio of battle losses converted to severely damaged warship in battle is about 6%. It's pretty cool. The flagship is when you have to repair your ship, right? This entire Nemesis, and then of course the warship, 6%. You would basically save 6% of loss. But here's the thing though, I like it, but this is more like support type of thing for your own. You have three skills in here that are working for basically attack, right? Now, if you look into Thesis, actually, I think Thesis is much better than Nemesis. Why do I say that? Because if you look into Thesis, it's a missile weapon. There's a few things that we need to kind of establish in here. It has its own specific type of damage. Now, it has a warship 15% HP or 36% at the max level. Now, understanding that how the warship is, right? The warship is going to be whatever like frigates, cruisers, destroyers that you put in. That's going to be your entire warship. So with Thesis, I don't think there is a skill that would benefit Thesis itself for the flagship buff. All right. So for the second one in here, total armor, total shield is going to be for the warship again. 36% at the max level. Warship attack when in battle with other commanders. Warship shield when in battle with other commanders, 36% for both. Now, here's the kind of like weird statement that they did is that when in battle with other commanders. So, based on my understanding, that this total warship and shield will work whenever you're doing like anything that is like a PVE. Let's say you are working on one of the Starfield stage or one of the rims. This would not then work because this is going to be when you are in battle with other commanders, meaning other players. So there's that restriction. Now, for the last skill for Thesis, would be like increased armor when total HP of the deployed fleet is higher than 70%. So if you have max troop in the beginning, right, you get that benefit. And then as you get lower troops, then it's not going to take an effect. Now, this is really, really good still because you're going to hit with the, big fleet. So what you can do in here is like when you fight, when you stack and fight, right? That's what you should be doing. So you can have that, higher number of fleet and you don't just get reduced a lot. And then once you realize that you're about close to getting to 70%, then you send your ship back home and bring it back out again. You don't really want to play a war game to where you are fighting in a like really low troops, right? So you don't want to continue stacking when you have low troops. Now, if you're looking for like a PvE type of ship for epic tier, Hercules is one of the good ones in here. Missile plus 6%. Warship attack with neutral units. So you can see 20%, 48% for the max level. Total warship armor, total warship shield, right? This is going to benefit you for the fleet that you have up to 19.2%. And of course, also your warship HP as well, 19.2%. I mean, everything is being buffed in here, which is pretty dope. Fleet leadership limit, so you can have more fleet. This Nemesis is really good if your server is like super peaceful and there's really not a lot of war. And if you're only like trying to focus on getting into those Starfield stage gates and rims and stuff, that's really, really a good one. Now, I really think that Theseus is one of the best epic flagship in here, just because of its ability to really buff all the units. You can actually set a bunch of different missile type of warships. So as you already established in here, that is going to help with the HP, the armor, the shield, and attack, and as well as armor when it's like 70% and above. The warship that you can do are missile type of warship, right? So we already know that missile warships, they are really good against shields, and they can bring them down. So if you are fighting like an Artemis, right, which has a lot of shield as well as armor, of course, and going for the missiles is going to be really good. So that kind of like counters Artemis. Now, the way I see that how you can counter Artemis in here is that if your flagship is really consistent of destroyers, because destroyers would be able to counter the frigates. So that's the only way I could see how you can really, counter Artemis if you do a full set. But I'm going to talk about how I'm going to be splitting things up in here, because you're not always going to see that Artemis anyway, but it's just a good general knowledge in here. Having those missile type of warship. Now, you can set up and train like frigates level 7 in here, tier 7. And then once you get into tier 8 of the destroyers, you can use that. Or you can do more of a tier 10 for the destroyers and set that up like that. And you can have it all mixed, because in Theseus, it's going to benefit any type of warship. And if you don't mix it up, there's going to be no cruisers, okay? So if you want to focus onto the missile, it's either going to be destroyers or it's going to be frigates T9 in here. See, the reason why you want to do this is because you're going to be able to do some advantages and disadvantage. Because now if you have some frigates in your fleet, you can then have an extra damage against cruisers that you're going to meet and reduced damage against destroyers, all right? And then if you have destroyers, so let's say you have about 50-50 mix, right? You will increase the damage against frigates by using the destroyers and reduce damage against cruisers by 15%. So it works really well, meaning what you're doing in this one is you're covering up for every angle that you need to really maximize the fleet ratio that you have. So that's one thing that you need to consider if you are working on Theseus, is to build into those. So eventually, once I've unlocked all of my tiers in here and I have enough fleets, that's going to be my kind of setup, is to do a 50-50 mix, just so I can counter the other ships as well. So because if I just put one type of fleet, right, I could easily get countered by that, and that's going to be very difficult. Now, another thing that you need to understand, that this is T9, right? T9 is going to be really, really nice, because it's going to be like pretty cheap, and cheaper than T10, and it's going to inflict really good amount of damage to the T10 cruisers. It really depends. You need to be strategic. You need to be smart on how you're going to ratio your troops, right? It's easy to just keep training the same one every day and not pay attention and just like scroll everything out. In the beginning, it's fine. So like for me in the beginning, we've got like a bunch of different setups in here, because I cannot really fill the flagship with the entire, one type of warship only. So it's very difficult in the beginning. But in the later stage, hopefully once we get there, it'll be a lot easier and much more fun to do so, because you can specifically hone in into one type of unit. Now, I'm not saying that Nemesis is a bad ship. I just think if you're looking for a PvP, like a total war scenario, war type of ship, Theseus is the way to go for epic tier. Anyway, guys, hopefully you guys consider subscribing to this channel, as we are growing, creating fun contents and educational contents for Infinite Galaxy. If you guys have any comments or concerns or maybe suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you again next time.